All right, let's get into it. Today, we are cracking the code on something that honestly affects every single website you've ever visited, Google's core web vitals. So yeah, let's dive right in.
Okay, let me ask you something. Have you ever clicked on a link and then nothing? You're just staring at a blank screen, waiting and waiting. You can almost feel your patience just draining away until finally you're like, nope, I'm out, and you just slam that tab shut. We've all been there, right? It's like a universal frustration of the internet age.
And guess what? You are so not alone in feeling that way. In fact, that exact feeling of frustration is so common, so widespread, that Google actually built an entire system to measure it and to reward the websites that don't waste your time.
And that system? That's what we're talking about today. Core Web Vitals. The easiest way to think about it is like a report card or a health check for a website. It's Google's way of asking a simple question. Is this page actually good for a human to use? And it really all boils down to three main things. Three key pillars.
So, pillar number 1, loading performance. This one's pretty straightforward, right? It's all about speed. Plain and simple. How fast does the important stuff show up on your screen?
The way they measure this is with something called Largest Contentful Paint, or LCP for short. Now this is interesting. It doesn't care about when the whole page is done loading. Instead, it zeroes in on the single biggest thing on the page, that big hero image or the main headline. The question is, how fast does that one thing pop into view? And you know the usual suspect for a slow LCP, right? It's almost always a gigantic, unoptimized image that takes an eternity to download.
Here's a great way to picture it. Imagine you're at a concert. Do you care when the crew finishes plugging in the last cable? No, of course not. You care when the band, the main act, actually walks out on stage. LCP is just like that. It's measuring how quickly the main event of the web page shows up. It's that moment where you go, okay, something is happening, this page is real.
So, what's the target? What's the magic number here? According to Google, a good LCP is anything under 2.5 seconds. If you can get that main content to show up that fast, you're golden.
All right, pillar number 2 is all about user interaction. Because think about it, a page can load in a flash, but if you click on a button and nothing happens, well, that's almost more frustrating, right? This is all about responsiveness.
And the metric for this is called Interaction to Next Paint, or INP. What it's measuring is that tiny little gap in time between when you do something, a click, a tap, and when the page visually responds, like when a menu actually slides out or you see that little item added to cart notification. And usually, when the score is bad, the culprit is some heavy-duty JavaScript running in the background, basically hogging all the browser's attention so it can't respond to you.
Oh, and a quick heads up on this one, because it's important. INP is actually pretty new. It just replaced an older metric called FID back in March 2024. And the reason they switched is that INP is way better at measuring the overall responsiveness of a page, not just that very first click you make.
So, in simple terms, when you click something, does it feel snappy, instant? Or do you get that awkward pause where you're left wondering, did my click even go through? That's the feeling INP is trying to eliminate.
And get this, the speed they're looking for is wild. A good INP score is under 200 milliseconds. That is literally less than a quarter of a second. To be in Google's good books, that feedback has to feel instantaneous, like you blink and it's already happened.
Okay, let's move on to our third and final pillar, visual stability. Now, this one might not sound as obvious as speed or responsiveness, but I promise you, you have definitely felt the pain of a site that gets this wrong. The metric here is called Cumulative Layout Shift, or CLS. Basically, it keeps a running score of how much the stuff on a page jumps around unexpectedly while you're trying to read it. It adds up every little shift that happens without you doing anything. This usually happens when things like ads or images load in late, and the browser didn't save a spot for them, so everything else has to suddenly get out of the way.
And this right here, this is the classic example. You've been there. You see the button you want to press. You move your mouse, you're about to click, and at the last possible second, bam! An ad loads to the top, the whole page shoves itself down, and now you've clicked on something completely different. It is infuriating. CLS is literally designed to punish that exact scenario.
So the score for this one isn't in seconds, it's just a number, and you want that number to be as low as possible. A score under 0.1 is considered good. The whole goal is just don't move stuff around on the user unexpectedly. Keep it stable, keep it predictable. Okay, so let's do a super quick recap of the big three. You've got LCP for loading, get that main content up in under 2.5 seconds. You've got INP for responsiveness, react to clicks in under 200 milliseconds. And you've got CLS for stability, keep that layout shift score under 0.1.
Loading, responsiveness, stability. Simple, right? Awesome.
So now we know what these things are. But that brings us to the really important question, why does any of this actually matter? Like, why should you, or me, or a website owner care about these numbers?
Well, it really boils down to two huge reasons. Reason number one is just about making things better for people. I mean, sites that do well on these scores are just less annoying, right? They're faster, they're more responsive, people will actually stick around, maybe buy something, and even come back later. And reason number two, which is a big one for anyone with a website, Google uses these scores as a ranking factor, a direct ranking factor. So better scores can literally mean you show up higher in search results, more clicks, more traffic, the whole shebang.
You know, I love this quote because it really gets to the heart of it. Chasing good scores isn't really about pleasing some Google algorithm or machine. It's about respecting a person's time. It's about acknowledging there's a real human being on the other end of that screen, and their time is valuable.
So, next time you're building a website, or honestly even just clicking around the internet, think about these three pillars. That first impression a site makes happens in seconds. Is it a good one? Is it fast, responsive, stable? Or is it just another frustrating experience? Because let's be honest, in today's world, that first impression, it might be the only one you ever get to make.